Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of Stitching Tales. I am Johanna Lundström, the author of several sewing books, including Master the Cover Stitch Machine and Fit for Knits, and I also have my own sewing pattern line under the name The Last Stitch.
My name is Malena Hjerpe, and I work as a freelance pattern maker, and I also have my own PDF patterns under the name Hazelhen Patterns.
And in today's episode, we are recording in early December, which means holiday season, right, Malena?
Yeah.
A good time to bring some joy into everyone's life in the forms of gift and other gracious things to do for each other. So we thought it would be fun, right, to do a little bit of a gift guide in this episode.
Yeah, and we just had a bit of a check with each other. It's like, we are talking about gifts for us. I mean, our like sewies, other sewies. It's not making gifts for others now. No. We talk what do we want?
Exactly. So this could, of course, if you have a friend that is a fan of sewing, these are perfectly ideas in all price ranges. Or if you want to put these items on your own personal wish list, right? I think that's a good idea too, because we all always need a few more sewing things, I think, right?
Oh yeah, definitely.
All right then, Malena, should we just hit to it, because we realized we have so many things. Actually, before we started recording, we realized
want a lot of things.
Yeah, we want a lot of things too, and we have a lot of things that we like that we also would love for you to have as well and to give to other people. So maybe, Malena, I am curious, what is your first item on this holiday gift list?
Well, my first item is scissors. Even though if you already have a fabric scissors, I mean, how often do you lose it? And you have to search for it. So having two is actually not a bad idea. And I mean, there are different kind of scissors that you need or won't need. The fabric scissors, the paper scissors, and maybe a sharpener for the scissors. Do you say that, sharpeners?
Yeah, I think so.
And then you have like those small, like you snip off the threads, those kind of zippers that you can, have around your neck. And if you have, some people have, it's difficult to actually cut in thicker fabrics. There are specialized scissors for those that are a little more helping. So there are like lots of different scissors that you want. Or if you want to give a gift card to, if you have some specialty scissors that don't have sharpeners, there are a lot of stores that sharpen scissors as well, which could be really great to get those kind of gift cards, so you can actually get your own scissors sharpened. And then we have the rotary cutters, and if you already have rotary cutters, you need new knives or rollers. What do you say?
The knife, the blades, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it's
blades.
Probably pretty dull at the moment. So, I mean, you always gonna need those kind of things. So those are a really safe bet. Like, eventually, those are gonna be needed. So you can't go wrong with that. So, scissors. Whatever kind of scissors you want or need.
Yeah, and it's such a good idea, because they can always come in so many different price ranges. So you can get really good, decent thread snippers for just a very small amount, or you can go all in and wish or give a really high quality fabric scissor, which brings me to my first gift item, which is actually a pair of scissors. And I will actually do a specific brand recommendation. I feel comfortable in doing that. So this is probably the most expensive item on this gift list, which is what I'm holding in my hand now, if you're not watching the video version, is Kai Scissors, which is a fantastic Japanese brand that has completely changed my cutting life. And I actually always dread cutting and prepping. I just want to sew, or rather, sometimes I just want to have the finished garment. But unfortunately, there's a lot of steps being involved before that is actually happening. But anyways, so these, the one I'm holding here is one of the fabric scissors. It's Kai, and it's the number 7230. So 7230, and they have lots of different sizes. This one is a bit more pricey. I don't remember top of mind, but it's at least I think it's maybe $60, $67 in euro or something like similar to that. So it's a bit pricey, but you can sharpen it, which I've done, and it's basically new if you leave it to a professional sharpener. And it also has smaller scissors, which are a bit more inexpensive if you don't have the budget to either give or you feel uncomfortable asking someone in your familiarity to ask for they're like, why? What? A scissor is costing $70? Like, what? Can't you just buy one in the grocery store? Like, no, you can't. No, you can't. No, you can't. So I really, really recommend Kai Scissors if you want a brand specific name. And we're also big fans of Fiskars, which is from Finland, which is just like Malena. And also, what's a good thing about the Fiskars scissor is that they also have a sharpener, which is very inexpensive. So you can actually sharpen your scissors at home, which I have. And I think you have it too, right? I have it. So that's a really good. Those are not as pricey as the Kai brand as well. So we should definitely do that. I will also say that we are going to compile all the gift recommendations that we are doing into a blog post that you will find under the URL thelovestitch.com/gift guide. So you will find that link, of course, in the show notes of this episode as well. So yeah, scissors and rotary cutter, great ideas. So
yeah,
Malena,
you always need them.
Yeah.
But I took your number one from your list. What do you have next on your list?
Yeah. So I'm actually gonna have something that is probably a nice thing to do if you want to, because we said we are not suggesting that you do any we in this episode it's not about what you should do, handmade gift, but it's a wonderful thing to actually give someone a handmade gift and support that community, but you don't have to do it yourself. So what I'm holding in my hand now are 2 handmade pin cushions. So the one that I'm holding in my left hand, if you're watching the video version, which is available on YouTube, Stitching Talespod, it's a wonderful crocheted pin cushion, and the bottom is with linen fabric. It's absolutely beautiful. It has a grey and lilac shades, and it's just a piece of art, and it makes me so happy to look at it. And this one I bought on Etsy many years ago. I'm not sure I will be able to locate the seller, because I bought this over 10 years ago. But to me, this is the beauty, because then it combines 2 things that I love, handmade things and sewing. So this pin cushion is a beautiful one, and in my other hand now, I'm holding a felted pin cushion, and it's covered with, let me see here, for we can, what do you know what it's called in English? It's like when you peel the outer layer of birch tree. So you can make handmade things, and then it's a felted pin cushion. And this one is handmade in Sweden, and it was a gift to me by my mother, and I think I've had it for maybe 2 or 3 decades. Again, it looks just as new. And to me, these 2 pin cushions, they just am so wonderful to feel with the hand. You can feel the wool, and you can feel the linen fabric and the birch, whatever it's called, the outer layer of the birch tree. So I think that's something I actually highly recommend, because that brings, as I said, two things at the same time. And sometimes it's nice to have pretty sewing things. I love functional things, but when it comes to pin cushions, I think it's also really nice to be surrounded by beautiful handcrafted items.
Yeah, and those you can have several of. I mean,
yeah,
you always want to reach for your pins, so you could have like 3 or 4 spread out in your working space. You always have them near, and really nice. And felted wool, that is actually really good for to have pins in. That's really, I want one now.
Yeah, I don't think we were able to locate this beautiful felted one, but I know there are so many. If you look around on both online and offline, I think you will be able to find some beautiful handmade pin cushions, because that's a very common thing and to make and to sell. So that can really like prettify your sewing space, I think.
Yeah, definitely. I have the next on my list is actually, I don't know if it exists specifically for sewists, but it for hairdressers, they have these kind of belt, like tool belt, and that is really handy. When you are cutting, you can place your scissors there, and you can have your seam ripper marker, like those kind of accessories. You have them on you, so you don't lose them all the time. So that kind of thing could be really. I don't think it's that common yet to have as a sewist, so that can be like a new gift to somebody who you think they have it all already, but this could be a thing that they are actually missing. And I think it's that kind of thing that you don't realize how good it's gonna be until you actually have it and use it.
Yeah, I've never thought about this, but it's brilliant, right? I mean, why not? Because all the things, because I'm able to like lose my seam ripper, and my, if I don't have the neck, if I don't have the thread zipper with a neckband, for instance, it's the same thing. And I mean, how is it possible they can lose something in that small area in no time? And if you get into the habit of just dropping everything into your tool belt, I mean, honestly, it's a genius idea, and I've never.
Yeah, I saw it on. I don't remember her Instagram handle now. I think it's ES Design Finland, might be. I can link it to her. She works as a professional seamstress, and she gets really annoyed. She gave this tip, and because she gets really annoyed when her scissor is on the other side of the table. So not lost, but it's, you have to walk around the table, and if you have a big cutting table, it's just like annoying time spent running after your things. So she was really praising this kind of belt. So I was like, that's a good idea.
Yeah, it's a fantastic idea. Yeah, I will look into this as well. Maybe that will be the gift that I will give to myself
shopping
on
list.
the holiday. 2000. I will tell this to my kids. Mama needs a tool belt.
Yes. True. What do you have next on your list?
Yes, I on my list now I have the item in my how shall I say it, in my sewing space that I use, that I get the most questions, comments, and DMs, emails, everything, and it's a bit more expensive. So what I'm holding up now is my trusted magnifying lamp, which if you ever been to the dentist and you have seen this kind of lamp, which they are using in order to see your teeth properly. So it's basically a lamp that also has a magnifying function, and I'm holding it up now if you're watching the video version, and this is so brilliant because actually, I mean, especially for someone who's getting a bit older, my eyesight has completely is in the basement or even further down. It's a mess. I can't see anything anymore for close-up sewing. So with the help of using this magnifying lamp, I both get great light over my sewing machine, but primarily I get everything magnified. So for instance, when I'm doing top stitching and any type of detail sewing where you have to be really precise, I rely on this lamp 100%. And the one that I have now is no longer available, but any type of magnifying lamp, and you can buy these pretty much anywhere. You can search for magnifying lamp or LED magnifying lamp. A brand name that has gotten great reviews is something called Brightech, which I will of course link to in this gift guide as well. But I honestly think that you can get away with pretty much anyone, and mine is table mounted because I like that, because I don't want to have in my sewing space. I need to have as much free floor space as possible, because just moving around and with the pedals for the machines, I try to keep everything away apart from those in cables and stuff. So I recommend the table mounted one. So it's very easy to attach. And if you have a big foot, either it's going to be in the way, also it's going to eat up space on your sewing table. So if you have any problems, I mean, perhaps if you're struggling with something with sewing, the solution might actually be just get a magnifying lamp. It's probably the easiest thing to expand your you reach level up your skill level with one single purchase, guaranteed.
You see the problem properly then, and can fix
exactly,
it,
Exactly. It's just, I mean, it's a game changer. It's, I wish I bought one sooner, but I was glad I bought one before my eyesight, deteriorated completely. Now it's so bad that I also have to have reading glasses and a magnifying glass. But that's a story for another day.
Well, I mean, it's small things that we are dealing with, so it might be necessary for other people as well.
Yeah,
I actually bought just by how it looked. A side note: I actually have bought a Black Friday sale. I bought a desk lamp. I've seen so many ads on it now. So I mean, at the 15th time that I saw that, I was like, oh. Now, okay, I'm falling for it. I'm gonna buy it now. So I have bought a desk lamp that looked a little bit similar. That you attach to the desk. So you don't have to have that big ring light that is like just in the way. And so I want to have exactly. Because of the reason that you tell, you don't want to lose any space. So I will. I haven't received it yet. If I like it, I will definitely share. If I recommend it or not. So I'm looking forward to it. But it's amazing what ads. I mean, I know what they are. Yeah, after you've seen it a couple of times, it's like. Maybe this could be something.
Yeah, there is some kind of number in marketing. I think that if you need, in average, you need to be exposed for something 7 to 8 times before you make a purchase decision. And clearly, and
I knew that, and I was like, now I'm over that. I'm actually thinking of buying it. So we'll see if I get tricked by the amount of exposure of the ads, or if it's actually a good thing.
Yeah,
we'll
I honestly, I think a lamp, in any price range will do a good work, and I think this is actually something that a lot of people, perhaps, or some people at least, underestimate the value of good light in your sewing space. It's the same, for instance, if you're working with dark fabrics that are a little bit tricky to see which is the right side and the wrong side. If you don't have good light, there's always a slight risk, if you don't have marked the right side or the wrong side, that you end up sewing one piece in reverse. It happens to me several times. So all of a sudden, I've sewn one sleeve with the wrong side up, just due to the fact that I was working under not good lighting conditions. So I think in your light is definitely something.
Yeah, and imagine using the seam ripper in black fabric. Oof.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to have good light then.
Yeah, and that's a great suggestion, because the magnifying lamp again solves this issue as well, where you're able to locate the threads properly if you're using trying to rip the dark fabric or delicate fabric. Invest in good light, and definitely ask for good light if you if you need it. And I think you do. We always need more light, right? Especially here in Sweden. And the winter sewing is a challenge, right? Because
it is,
we just have a few precious hours of decent daylight in the day. So, if you're trying to sew in the evenings or whatever, it's like, poof, wow. It's tricky. It's very, very tricky.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, Malena, what is next on your list?
Next on my list... this is sounds maybe a little bit boring, but a gift card to your local sewing machine shop for a service of your machine.
Great.
I think it's going to be one of those things that's like, you don't want to spend that money yourself, and if somebody else is like, okay, but here, I pay for the service, I mean, you're going to be really happy about it. And I think it's quite few, if you want to give a gift to somebody, do they already have this or not? It's probably quite a long time since anyone had their machine on service. So, I think it's a pretty safe thing to buy. And a gift card, I mean, you can usually use it for the next year, so you don't have to do it at once. But machine service. And I say this because I don't remember when I had my machine on services. So,
yeah, I think we're all guilty of that. And it's such a great idea, because sometimes it is that little, you need a little bit of nudging, right? So if someone just give you the opportunity and just it's just not about the money. It's also like, right, yeah, now I can do it, because you need a tiny little bit of nudging in order to do the things.
Extra helpful, I mean, go get the actual machine, bring it to the shop, and then bring it back. I mean, if you are really, really, want to highlight your gift, then that would be amazing.
If you're a really, really good friend.
Exactly.
If you're a very good friend. If you want to get extra gold star for your friendship.
Because I think that might be, the biggest, like, I just don't want to, take the machine to the shop.
Yeah, that's such a good idea. Especially, I try to service mine, but for now I no longer have a car, which kind of, just that, have to use public transportations and like a trolley to put the sewing machine on or whatever. It kind of, I've noticed that I've been more reluctant to do that stuff, and having someone to help me with that, or maybe pick it up in a car. Wow, that would be a wonderful, wonderful, helpful thing. What a great idea. I feel like
we need to remember that, taking care of things and maintaining them, it is really, we have to have a environmental aspect to the whole thing. You don't need to buy new stuff as gifts all the time. These kind of things are a really great thing to do as well for the environment. So I think it would be, anyone who would receive that, I think it will be appreciated.
Yeah, very, very true.
What's next on your list?
Yeah, I'm actually going to share something that I've pretty much you can do for hardly any money, or just a little, and it will also show that you have a great eye and are like understanding the visual aspect and the passion for clothes that us sewists have. So what I'm holding up now is a framed fashion illustration, because the New York Public Library has got access to amazing fashion illustrations from the 40s and the 50s from a pair, I think it's two studios, like dressmaking studios, and these you can download high resolution and print out. So the one I'm holding now, I've printed myself on my printer, and I think it looks fantastic. And it's a large, honestly, I have 3 these framed in my sewing studios. So the woman here is a very elegant woman wearing like a high fashion 50s. It's a beautiful fashion sketch, the kind of things that like couture level stuff. So I have 3 framed in my sewing studio, and I have also 2 in my apartment. So this basically costs literally nothing. So you just need to, I will of course link to this as well in the gift guide, but you just head over to the New York Public Library picture collection, and then you filter on, I think it's fashion drawings, and then you get this huge amount of, it's hard to pick which one you're going to print in all colorways. So you can also think like, maybe what's the color or the style that your friend likes, or if you want to give this to yourself, it's also very inexpensive. And you can of course get a frame secondhand, so you don't have to pay. Maybe you already have a frame, or you can get it, find a nice frame secondhand, because the good thing is of course that you can decide on the size when you're printing it. So if you have a nice frame, you can of course just adjust the print size of the so I printed it on a little bit thicker, slightly off-white paper to get the kind of vintage look. So I didn't print it on white paper, but it has like a slightly yellowish tone to it. So that's something I really recommend. I think, it's from 1957 Creative Studio on Broadway, New York City. So it's straight from the garment district in the 50s. Beautiful, beautiful illustrations.
That is such a good idea. I'm already like sitting and planning like there, and in my studio there. Definitely I will do that. And then it's easy also to change it up. I mean, if you have something already, then you can change it whenever you want and get a little renewal in your interior. So that's a great idea. I'm definitely look that up.
Yeah. That's such a nice, and it just brings I think to my sewing space, because having these kind of inspirations, because of course also as we remember in the 40s and the 50s the amount of detailing, and I mean it's just a whole different game, high fashion then compared to now. I mean the detailing and all the buttons, and it's such an inspiration to just look at it, and you can really feel like you get inspired and you know put that extra attention to details and everything. So yeah, I feel so inspired by having these around in my sewing space.
Yeah, good idea. Great idea for
Yeah.
for yourself as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I think a lot of things that we're saying now might end up in your own gift basket. Hopefully we
Yeah, but I mean, you always give a Christmas gift to yourself as well, right? Isn't that
exactly
the thing?
Yeah, it's exactly, because I'm already giving myself something for this Christmas, the tool belt or this for the holidays. Yeah. All right then, Malena, what's next on your list?
Books. I mean, we have written a book together, Fit for Knits, and you have 3 other books as well, but not just our books. I mean, there are so many lovely pattern books, and especially Google Pattern Magic, and you will, I mean, those books, they are, I don't remember the name now, it's Japanese designer, and I mean, those, they are like more of a like coffee book table. They are beautiful, and it's like brain exercise when you look at them. It's just like, how are they doing this? It's just like, I mean, it's not wearable garments in that sense maybe, but it's just like the details and the sculptures, 3D sculptures. And I think there are 2 series, like Pattern Magic are for woven fabric and Drape are for jersey fabric, I think. Both, I mean, they look just amazing, so beautiful books. So those I highly recommend.
Yeah,
do you have them
absolutely
as well?
Wonderful. No, I don't have them, but I regularly borrow them from the library just for what you're saying. As you say, it's such a mind-blowing techniques, and it's you're like, it's when the magic, it's true, because you're like, how are you able to do this with just cutting and slicing up things and creating this kind of it's like, it's more sculpture, it's more like art in a way.
Yeah, definitely.
And I honestly think maybe there's one book about jersey or knits, but I think it's actually there are 2 books on maybe there's a draping.
I think there are more. I think
there are 3 at least 3 books. 3 books, yeah.
And I think there are 2 on for the jersey.
Wow, even more books. Yeah. So we're definitely gonna compile this on our gift list as well, because that's a whole word. And then I'm curious, because I think I've only seen 3 of the books, but mind blowing. That just like with the fashion illustrations, sometimes you know, it's not just about, how should I say, learning new skills. It's also getting inspiration and expanding your mind. And I think these books are a wonderful example of that, of showing you something that goes outside what you would normally be exposed to, and it can really like open up new ideas and new possibilities. And I think we need that kind of food for inspiration as well. It's just not about techniques. I think it's the complete package. Yeah, it's really it's so true, and it's just you get so inspired when you look at them. They're just beautiful pictures. Yeah, absolutely. And then there are, I mean, of course, lots of other books as well. I mean, pattern books and fitting guides books, and also like old, more vintage books. I mean, they are just beautiful as well. And the sewing technique, I mean, yes, a lot of things have happened, but like sewing on a machine, not that many things have happened. So you can get a vintage book as well. Like the techniques are still valid. And sometimes it's actually so interesting to see how they did it before, because doing it the tailored way and then doing it more the mass production, take as little time as possible, be as quick, efficient as possible. Those are 2 different things, and you don't have to be as quick as possible when you sew yourself. I mean, doing the more tailored way, I almost like, I recommend that instead. So learning those kind of techniques, and I mean, you never stop learning. It's so nice to learn and see how they did it before. Yeah, you can always learn new things. I'm the same way. I love the mix of like effective, more manufacturing techniques with the handwork. And I think when these 2 worlds meet, it's such a fascinating thing. And I guess we're basically the same person because we didn't really pre-talk. So I'm actually I actually have books now as well on my list.
Great minds think alike, what can I say?
Yeah, and the thing is that I'm actually going to recommend a few books that I think you could try to find vintage or used books, actually. And the first one, which I've referenced many times, I think, on this podcast as well, because I think we all need one of those like massive sewing books that really goes into detail about every single thing you might encounter when you are sewing. So while it's great to have specific books, such as the books that we have done, Fit for Knits and Sewing Jeans and Master the Cover Stitch Machine, those are a great companion to that kind of foundation knowledge. And my absolute favorite foundation book is a book called Reader's Digest New Complete Guide to Sewing, and this is available in several editions, but my favorite is actually one of the older ones, and it's almost 400 pages, and everything is which is the kind of thing that I also strive to do in my books and my sewing pattern. Every single step is very detailed, using technical illustrations, so it's pretty much impossible to not understand. And sometimes sewing books can be a little bit confusing, and I understand that because I write sewing instructions myself. It's not always easy, but because this is like a team of editors and expert, and everything is just you can really see that I've gone over everything several times, and also because the book has come in so many different editions, I think that all the kinks and the tweaks are like it's an evolved project. It's not the first time project, and you can find this book used, which I've bought on Amazon, and I'm sure many other stores as well. So even if you're not living in an English-speaking country where this book may be more readily available, I definitely think you will be able to get this one as well. I should also say that the one I'm holding in my hand now is from 2002, so it's actually 22 years old, but you wouldn't tell because it's everything, as Malena says, highly updated. The only thing lacking is, I think, is more solid instruction for sewing with knits, but as we know, this has been like an underserved area in many sewing books. But you can of course get our book Fit for Knits, as Malena mentioned earlier, because that has lots of really up-to-date modern techniques for sewing with knits. So if you want to learn more about that particular topic, I can definitely say you will find our book very, very useful.
Yeah, it's funny how you always talk about woven, but like so many books on woven, but knitted fabrics, it's a hole in the market there, a gap in the market.
Yeah, definitely. And one of my dream projects is to do like a Reader's Digest for just sewing with knits, but it will take a while. Another book which is also out of print, but you can find used, is called Sewing Secrets from the Fashion Industry, Proven Methods to Help You Sew Like a Pro, edited by Susan Huxley. And this again you will find on Amazon used. And this book, it's actually made by people that work in the garment industry, so sample sewers and everything like that. So here you will get all the things that you and I, Malena, talk a little bit more about. You know, it's sometimes the instructions for home sewers compared to a professional garment sew is quite different. And if you're really curious about the kind of method that are more used in the garment industry, this is a book I highly recommend. It's not perfect because sometimes the photos and the illustrations could be a little bit more clear. So when I first got the book, I was kind of a little bit disappointed because I felt they could have done a better job with that. But now, many years far further away, maybe I bought this over 10 years ago, I am still constantly referring to this, everything for sewing, really pointed collars on a shirt, to how to sew belt pockets, how to insert zippers, how to do bagging, where you sew lining and
to the jacket,
to the jacket, right? without having to do any hand stitching, basically, or just by a small opening. It's similar to the burrito method when you're sewing a shirt collar with a stand. All these kind of techniques they show in this book, and they also talk like more about seam allowance and stuff like that, which we talk a lot about too. That some you don't have to go so crazy about the wide seam allowance that a lot of like home sewing patterns have. So I find if you're really more in the nerdy, which we are, I think you will really enjoy this book as well. I hope that it's still easy to find. I did see that it has become a little bit more rarer, so the prices has gone up a little bit since I bought my book. But yeah, Sewing Secrets from the Fashion Industry, highly recommend.
That is definitely going on my wish list. I mean, I want it. That looked amazing.
We should write another update book about this as well. So many book ideas. We have so much going on. But yeah, I think this is a complete gap in the market. Up-to-date techniques with just a bit more better like illustrations and instructions that are a little bit more modern. It will be a dream project. And my final book is a Japanese book that I actually bought in New York. It's called Learn Skills to Sew Like a Professional, Practical Tailoring Method and Techniques. Again, this is also a book similar to the Sewing Secrets from the Fashion Industry. It just has a very good step-by-step techniques or more professional finishes. So you will learn more of the skills that are used in the garment industry. For instance, how to sew like placket and collar stands and piping, concealed zippers. And what I really like about this book is just very clear, like what the Japanese do. I think they do really good visual illustrations, very much step by step. So it's photos with text printed over, and I find it really nice to follow. Again, it's not a pretty book, but it's a very straightforward book. So if you want to give your friend something that looks at you really know what you're doing, like this is like a more of the like niche book topic, then I definitely Learn Skills to Sew Like a Professional. That's my final book recommendation.
Cool, because you can do it one way, and in the PDF sewing patterns you usually give one instruction on how to do it in a certain way, but there are often different ways you can do it, and so it's really so interesting to learn different ways, different techniques, and just see how you can assemble a garment in different ways. So it's I want that one as well. I too. I feel like I want the Pattern Magic books as well. Now that you're talking about, because they have I was looking into buying them many years ago, and then I kind of forgot about it. And sometimes I borrow them from the library because we have it accessible here where I live. But now I'm like, oh God, I would love to have one of those coffee tables books in my sewing studio, just like lie in the sofa and browse through and feel like my mind is getting expanded. Because that's a cool thing about sewing, as you say, Malena. Even though we have methods and there are methods accessible, I think just the experience of learning a new techniques and trying that out, I think that's what makes us grow as people, that and a great thing about sewing, that we're always able to expand our sewing skills and widen on our horizons and try new stuff. So that's why it's such a great hobby, because it always keeps on giving. There's no ending to all the things that we can absorb and learn and develop. I think that's why I love sewing so much. Yeah, and I think it's really good to see it from different angles, so you really understand not just this is how you do it, but like why do you do it in that certain way? Because if you understand the why are you doing it, like why is it needed like this or that, then you also know, well, when can I skip it, when can I tweak it, when can I do something else, because I understand the reason why, so now I can elaborate and do something else with it. But you have to understand why, that to know when it's possible and when it's not possible. So learn more things. That's always a good thing.
Do we have any more things on your list?
Yeah, well, speaking of learning courses,
Wow.
I mean, yeah, give a gift card to like a course in class, but your local, if you have some local classes, evening classes, weekend classes, or online courses. I mean, you have the cover stitch course. Those are always a great thing to give and to participate in. So yeah, courses.
Yeah, great learning. And I'll definitely see, we talked a little bit before, speaking of gift cards, because we have some, I will make sure that I will set up also, if you want my cover stitch course, which is the course about how to troubleshoot and fix pretty much all cover stitch issues. So it's a very specific course that focus on like leveling up your skills and fixing common cover stitch problems. And I would definitely see, and I think I will be able to set up a gift card for that as well, if that's something you would either wish or want to give to someone else. And we also talked, Malena, about the possibility of offering gift cards for our patterns and of course the sewing books as well, that I have the ebooks version. So Malena, your store is on Etsy, right? So you can't do a gift card just for your shop. Is that correct? So
no, yeah, unfortunately. I mean, you can buy gift cards in general on Etsy, but not to a specific shop. But I mean, to get a gift card on Etsy, that's great, because you have so much to choose from then. So if you are not sure of fabric shop or whatever, a gift card is always, I mean, that's always going to be appreciated.
Yeah, that's very true. And I know a lot of other online sewing business also have gift cards in their shop, so you should definitely check that out. And I will make certain that I will also, I don't have it now, but I will make sure that once this podcast episode is out, that you will also be able to get a gift card in my shop dealofstitch.com, where I sell my ebooks and my sewing patterns as well. So you have that opportunity just to make it easy for you. So yeah, that's a great idea, because sometimes it is a little bit difficult. I think we're giving you all your listeners lots of suggestions, but maybe there is something else that you want to either give or receive. And then gift card, as you say, Malena, you have so many different options. I mean, if you get a gift card on Etsy, maybe they can buy one of your wonderful sewing patterns and perhaps a handmade pin cushion, for instance, and just get that nice package of everything. So that's a good idea to get a gift card on Etsy as well, and give someone something handmade or something that can do themselves.
Yeah, and if you want to get some ideas of what to buy to your friend, just ask them, so what's your next project? I mean, that's then you maybe get a little bit of hints or tips to what do they actually need for the next project.
Great idea.
Do you have anything else on your list?
No, I've actually run through all the things.
I have one more.
You have one more, great.
Entrance ticket to some, we in Sweden have the Sy- and Hantverksfestival, sewing fair. What do you say? Do you say fair?
Sewing fair, yeah.
And usually they have a little bit of an entrance fee or something. So buy the entrance fee for them, buy a ticket to that. And I think that will always be handy when you... Because I love going to those fairs. It's so nice to just see so many people gathered that have the same interests.
Yeah, it's such a wonderful vibe, and you discover so many small companies, and you chat about things, and it's so much. Everyone is it's such a great vibe in these places, and you can of course bring the gift of yourself by buying your ticket yourself as well. So your friend will have a friend in the sewing fair, because that's such a nice way of doing something together as well for like a day, to go around and check out all the exhibitions. I think I love those kind of fairs.
Yeah, and if you want to do something for free, maybe you can not buy them PDF pattern, but there are a lot of free PDF patterns that you can print out and assemble to your friend if you know that they want that. That is a great gift, to assemble a PDF pattern. I mean, come on.
That's probably the best gift ever.
Yeah, doing the other labor for someone that is always going to be appreciated.
Yeah, totally. What a great idea. What a great idea. As you see, because you don't have to, I think that's a message here in this episode, that there are so many ways that you can gift someone, and some things don't really have to cost anything or hardly anything. So you don't have to feel like, oh, a gift needs to be expensive. I think it's just there are so many ways of making someone else happy, and also being encouraging about, their interests and hobbies, which I think is a really great considerate gift to give, to say that, yeah, I see you and I see what you like, and I see your personality, and I know that these are your interests, and getting a gift that kind of sees that. I think that's such a wonderful way of acting towards someone.
Yeah, absolutely. Because, I mean, the obvious would be to buy fabric for somebody, but that can be really hard. You don't know exactly what they want, if they haven't specifically told you, or how much it's going to be. So then, yeah, a gift card would be maybe a better choice. But yeah, there are so many other things than just fabrics that you can actually gift.
Totally.
So do you have already mentally in your, like, have some that put in your basket now, in your shopping basket, and
actually I've made some notes. So if you heard me scribbling, in the audio here, I was actually scribbling a few of the things that Malena said as well, just to remember them. but don't worry, everything will be available on the blog post, theloststitch.com/gift guide, that will be up when you're listening to this episode. So if you don't worry if you haven't been able to write everything down that we've said, we will make that easy for you. The link will be in the description section of this episode.
Perfect. Yeah. I think you definitely will be safe with these recommendations. I think your friend or yourself will be very, very happy receiving some of these gifts.
Absolutely. All right, then we should wish you happy holidays, because we will do more episodes before the holidays, I think, definitely. Yeah. But this was such a fun episode, and as I said, I definitely feel like I'm craving. It's dangerous to do these kind of episodes. You get the itch.
Yeah, it
from getting new stuff.
Something in you.
Yeah. All right. Well, I hope that you enjoyed this fun gift episode as much as we did. So thank you so much for listening. I am Johanna Lundström.
And I am Malena Hjerpe. Bye.
Bye-bye.